Hi, this is Ray. I'm going to show you how to color correct and grade in Premiere Pro using the color workspace and the Lumetri color panel. Okay, so this video is going to be very simple and straightforward. It's not going to show you every single little item in the Lumetri panel. It's going to just show you some basic tools that you can use to get going in order to color correct and grade your images, okay, or your video even. So when we talk about color correction, the main things we're sort of like adjusting is taking our raw footage and then just basically correcting the exposure, the color balance, that sort of thing, maybe adding a bit of contrast just to make it look a bit more punchy, but keeping to the sort of like real life sort of quality of the image that we saw when we were shooting. Now, grading is generally, this is a very sort of like short description, is essentially just giving it a style. So it could be something as simple as making it black and white or just going for a particular look. Like I said, it's a very sort of like down and dirty, quick way of doing things. At a later date, I'll make another video where I can go in depth with some of the other tools within the Lumetri panel. Okay, so let's get started. You'll see here in the project panel that I've got a couple of clips of geese. This was shot on the Sony RX100 Mark IV, and it was in the HFR mode, which is a high frame rate. Okay, and I shot it at 250 frames per second. So you can see there, it's just a few geese hanging around. One of them is plunging his head into some water. Okay, so I'm not making like a film, editing a kind of like finished piece. It's more for demonstration purposes, so don't judge the final content. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to make a sequence out of the clip. So first of all I'm going to do is just going to drop it into this area here, and then that creates a sequence. What I'll do, just for sort of like tidiness sake, I'm just going to rename the sequence, call it color corrected geese. Okay, and there you go, let's change it up there. Okay, I'm going to just delete that off there because I want to sort of select the in and out points up here. Okay, so let's just sort of start it. Let's just start it with his head already in the water there. Just get to the point there and get an out point there. So I'm just going to use the video. I'm not doing any sound on this, I'll just drag the video in there. You'll see two icons there, one where it's drag video only and one drag audio. If you click on here, you'll drag both the video and the audio. We don't want that. Okay, so do the same on this clip here. We've still got two clips to work on. Okay, so I'm going to just do something a bit interesting. I'll go on here and start here, select an out point, and then point there, and then select I for in. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, I want that to end at have this kind of like matching to the heads in the water, like so. So I'm going to just reverse this clip. I just thought about this, so I'm just kind of jamming it really. Okay, I'm going to delete the audio, don't need that. So if I unlink now, so and get rid of the audio, and then close this gap here, so I'm going to ripple delete. Okay, and then you'll see now there's some sort of continuity. Make it a bit neater actually, so let's just zoom in a bit, plus key. Go about there. It's not going to be a perfect cut, but you get the idea. You'll notice that the image is slightly flat. I've kind of desaturated it a bit there. That was done in the picture style sort of section in the menu of the camera. I won't go into detail here. We'll talk about that at a late date in relation to S-Log and stuff like that. But I haven't shot S-Log here. I've just made it slightly flatter just to give me a little bit more dynamic to play with. Okay, so the main thing that we're kind of working on is this color workspace up here. So if we click on here, you'll notice everything's sort of changing a bit. Okay, so ordinarily you'll have little monitor there just to sort of see your individual clips, and you've got your monitor here to see your sequence down here. Okay, so with your Lumetri scopes, this is the main sort of scope we're looking at, okay, which is the waveform type Luma, okay, and this is basically 100 is your pure whites and your 0 is your pure blacks, okay, and you read the scope from left to right just like you would with the image, so you can see all these bright bits here are essentially these kind of gaps of sky, okay. It just makes it a bit easier to sort of like gauge what you're doing, but you can also do it by eye as well. Right, so I'm going to select the first clip that I'm going to do, okay, and then you'll see on this Lumetri color panel, this is what we're primarily working on. We'll probably touch on, definitely basic correction, creative, we won't look at curves today, or we might look at it a little bit, no color wheels and match, HLS, HSL secondary, and vignette. We'll look at vignette later. Okay, so I'm going to open up the basic correction, and if you've used Camera Raw in Photoshop or Lightroom, then this will become sort of fairly familiar. Okay, so looking at here, I am going to just maybe drop the exposure down just a touch. You'll see if I go all the way down here, it just affects this waveform monitor there. So remember, this 100 denotes pure white, so anything that's pure white should be hitting that 100, but there isn't really, like bits of the feather and stuff like that are pure white, so I'm just going to just bring that down. What I'm going to do next, just to sort of like widen the dynamic range of the image, is bring the blacks down a touch there, like that. Okay, you notice that it's kind of the mid-tones have gone a bit sort of down, so I'm just going to just punch it up a little bit. The thing to remember with colour correction is the less is more. Okay, like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just add the contrast there and whack up this saturation like so. Okay, so this is a very sort of crude way of doing things. You're kind of like affecting kind of the whole image or parts of the image, but not in the same sort of like way that you could do with curves, but it's just a very sort of quick way. You'll notice that I haven't really touched the white balance because I did the white balance correctly in camera, so I don't really have to correct it there. Okay, so we'll do that on the next video where I can shoot some video where it's a bit off and show you how to sort of like correct the white balance on that. Okay, so you'll see a before and after here. Okay, so you can see that it's much punchier and just generally a bit more realistic looking. Okay, you'll see in the effect controls here that it's created this Lumetri color. Okay, so the great thing about this is that all these changes that I've made, so let's just say I'm happy with these changes. Obviously I've done it very quickly, I'll probably work on it a bit more if I had the time, but you'll see that on here this has got the sort of like old uncorrected look. What we can do is with the Lumetri color settings, which is basically saved all these changes, is you can either save that as a preset and give it a name, okay, or you can just copy that, go onto the clip here. You notice that when I move the playhead onto that clip, it automatically highlights it, and I'll just paste that onto that effect controls of that clip, and you notice straight away that it's saving me a whole bunch of time because I shot these clips close together and the light conditions didn't change. You can see that it's just matched it nicely from one clip to the other. Okay, a bit of a trippy thing going on where it's reversing. Doosh. Terrible cut. Anyway, guess you get the idea. So that is a very quick colour correction. What we can do now, we can take that, okay, and then we can grade it. Okay, so we're adding a look to it. So I am going to duplicate this sequence. Okay, let's go back to the editing panel, workspace even, and I'm going to call this graded. Oops. Okay, so we've got literally the same thing here. So the key element in this process is the adjustment layer. Okay, so you'll notice that when I did the changes, I did it straight onto the clips. You could actually do it onto the adjustment layer as well. But with the grading, you essentially drag the adjustment layer onto the video layer above your clips and then spread it over the course of your sequence there. Okay, we'll go back to our color panel, click on there. So this time we're not going to really create our own grade, we're going to just do an off-the-shelf one. These are all different sort of LUTs, lookup tables. Okay, so originally they weren't designed to be used in this kind of way, but we're going to basically use them as kind of a starting point, like a filter. Okay, and then dial it down a bit because they're a bit sort of full on when you just add them on 100%. Okay, you'll notice if you've had a little root around in basic correction, you can add your LUTs here, okay, but you have less control over it. You can just basically apply it and then that's it, okay. Whereas underneath the creative, you can add your look and then you can change the intensity and add all sorts of adjustments here, which we'll do in a moment. Okay, so let's just have a look. I did have a look earlier. Some of them were quite funky. So, oh yeah, this is one here. So this PROVIA one is quite a sort of like extreme kind of look to it, as you'd expect if you're into sort of like old film photography. So that's just nasty looking. So what we're going to do is just dial it down. Okay, so you can see that that's obviously got none of it. So let's just say about 40. Okay, and then if we have a look before and after, you can see, yeah, that's a bit more acceptable. Okay, so you can add a faded film. If I crank it right up, you can sort of see the general sort of look of it. Sometimes I like to add a little bit, so let's just say 20. And then if I zoom in a moment, I sometimes actually like to soften the image a bit as well. It's actually, I mean, the setting that I shot on the Sony RX100, it looks quite soft anyway, so I'm not going to adjust it. Maybe I'll adjust it by -10 or something like that. Okay, and then zoom back out, which is, you know, you'd be thinking, why the hell are you making it softer? Modern video cameras can often over sharpen images and it just gives you that video look, so if you want that, then go for it. I personally, looks not very nice to my eyes, so I change that a bit. Okay, and that's sort of, you know, that's pretty much it really. That's what I'm going to do. You can do a whole lot more if you want to, but you can see that I've just subtly changed it a little bit there. If I just maximize that, so the shortcut there is the Control-tilde key there. Okay, so I'm going to just add a little couple of things onto this that we can also do. Okay, so what you might want to do is just put some sort of faux bars here. So ideally, you'd have shot this footage and got this sort of aspect ratio framed up exactly how you want it, rather than just kind of winging it like I'm kind of doing, but hey, let's do it anyway. Okay, so I'm going to go back into editing and I'm going to add another adjustment layer. So using just the same one. Okay, you'll notice that when I go into effect controls, it's empty there. So what we're going to do this time is, in fact what we'll do, we'll add another one on top of there. Okay, and then go back into our colour panel and we're going to go and add a vignette. Okay, before we do that, I'm going to add some bars. So we're going to have a wider aspect ratio, sort of more CINEMASCOPE style. Okay, so one way you can do that is you can go into the effects panel and look for crop. So let's whack that on there. Okay, so nothing happens because we haven't changed anything. You'll see here that if you slide from the left to right, it's going to crop that way, but we want the top and the bottom. Now, I go anywhere between sort of 10 and 15, so let's just say 10 in this instance. Keep it safe. Okay. In fact, let's go a bit more, let's go 13. Let's take on the edge. Okay, so you can see now we've got more of a sort of CINEMASCOPE. You'll notice that that framing is kind of a bit off there, cutting the top of the head of the goose there, so we don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the first clip, okay, and go into my effect controls. So let's just close some of these up a little bit, just to make it a bit smaller, and we want position. So essentially I want to sort of shunt it down. So this is the x-axis, goes horizontal, and this is the vertical, so this is what we want. Okay, so you can see that if I go too far, I've gone beyond the edge. So there, that's nice. Okay, and then we'll check the other one. It's mainly when it's kind of got the goose has got their head lifted up. So I think there's a bit too much room at the bottom here. So I'm going to do a similar sort of thing. A bit more of the sky. Yeah, that's better. Okay. That's pretty cool. So you'll see that that is the top layer. And then what I'm going to do in the layer in between, because we don't want it to happen, because you won't be able to see it over the cropped areas, is the vignette. So we'll select the vignette. Okay, and the good sort of way to start off is just to get it up so you can properly see it. So I'll crank the amount down and the feather right down, and you can see where that vignette is happening. And then you just got to just shape it in the way you want it. So here we go. And then all I'm going to do is just feather it, and then just do a before and after. I want it to be quite sort of subtle. And it just kind of subconsciously draws the eye into the sort of subject in the middle. So that's pretty good. Okay, so let's have a look. Wonderful. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, actually, just to sort of show you. What you can also do is I'm going to sort of create like a comparison. So if I just now duplicate into editing. Okay, comparison sequence. Okay, so just stay with me here, folks, because actually you'll learn quite a lot through what I'm doing here, even though it doesn't seem at first relevant. Okay, so I've got a comparison sequence here. So this is my original colour corrected. What I'm going to do actually is I'm going to just copy my crop bars into here and do a similar sort of thing first of all. So you can see you can grab elements from other sequences and use them in a similar sort of way. Yep. My bad there, didn't select the clip. Okay, so I'm just going to delete that one there. I'm going to duplicate. So the funky thing about what I'm going to show you is you can actually use sequences like clips. Okay, so I've got my color corrected sequence here, and then I've got my graded sequence here. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to, let's just link that. So we don't need it to sort of flap around with. Okay, so you can see, in fact, what we'll do as well, sorry about this, I'm just thinking of it as I go along. So duplicate that, and then I think I'll edit some of this down so it won't be so tedious and long-winded. Raw geese footage. Okay, so we have the raw geese footage here. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of all the changes on the color correction there. Now, with the comparison, we can now bring the raw geese in, unlink the audio. Okay. So you can see that's at the top, so that's what we're seeing. So what we're going to do is we're going to have, if you can imagine this is empty, we're going to have the original there, we're going to have the corrected in the middle, and then the graded on the right hand side. So it'll be like a triptych. So in a way this is a lesson in how to do a triptych image. Okay, so I'm sort of like killing lots of birds or geese with one stone. Okay, so the way we do that, so we've got that one there, is that we'll just say about, I'd say 33 scale. You can see it's a tiny thing there. Okay, and then with the graded geese, 33, and with the color corrected geese, 33. Okay, so you can see they're all shrunken down, so they're all on top of each other because they're all in the same position. So we want the raw geese over here. We'll have a little gap there, and then we want the graded geese on the right hand side. You might like the triptychs kind of like that gap, but let's have it with that gap, just have it all kind of like close up. There we go. Okay, so if we just bring that back in, Control tilde, and play it, you can see, oops, a bit of a gap there still. Oh well. So yeah, this is our original, this is our color corrected, and this is the graded. Okay, so hopefully you'll have learned something. This is the first video I've done where I've spoken over it, so apologies if it's a bit rambling and a bit unfocused, but hopefully you can watch it multiple times and learn something from it. I will make another sort of intermediate colour correction and grading video. Bear in mind that I'm not a professional colourist, so this is all stuff that I've learned sort of mainly to show you guys, and also my own work, finding kind of best ways to sort of do the colour correction and the grading. Hopefully once I get you going, you'll find your own ways. Alright, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you after all this is kind of like blown over. Cheers.